If you want to see your name at the beginning of all of our videos, as well as see exclusive content here on the homestead, please feel free to join our Patreon. Memberships start off at just $1 a month. And as always, thank you for your support.
Hey y'all, it's Maddie from the Itty Bitty Homestead Committee, and today I figured I would talk about my group cull pens and what your options are when it comes to growing out your babies. And then also I am working on camera angles and everything because one of my New Year's resolutions is to just make my videos better in quality. So I would love to hear y'all's opinions at the end of the video, but let's hop into it. After weaning your babies out, there are a couple of different things that you can do. You can either put them in a group cull pen or you can put them into singleton grow out cages. Now, depending on your setup and your preferences, depends on if you want to go with one or the other and what works best with you. I personally prefer to put my first round grow outs into groups of 2 and 3, depending on how many grow outs I have. And when I do that, I put them into my group cull pen settings. So I have an outside pen that holds my babies that are 8 to 10 weeks old during weaning. And then I have a large 10 by 10 cull pen that holds babies that are older than that before we go to butcher. And the idea that I have is when I put them in their groupings, it's for their comfort until we get over the big hump of weaning and we can get to a point where they can be evaluated. Now, once we get to about 10 weeks, that's when I do my true evaluations of who is going to stay in my program versus who is going to go into the freezer. Now, once I get to that point, the ones I want to grow out longer will go into a singleton cage system where they have a cage all to their self, they have food and water all to their self, and they get a chance to grow out and fill in before I do a second evaluation to ultimately decide if they're going to be sales or if they are going to stay within my breeding program. My ones that are going to be butchers are going to go into my 10 by 10 where they will stay until butchering. And I'll either do a mass cull, where I will cull out every single rabbit in that 10 by 10, or I just do onesies and twosies and just grab anyone out of the cull pen, and it's just easier for me in that I don't have to think about who I'm keeping. I don't have to grab, look at ear tattoos, and kind of go through that. So depending on if you want to do a group setup or a singleton setup right off the bat, there are a few pros and cons to go over. First, we'll go over our group cull pens. Having a group cull pen, the pros of it is it saves you space. You can put multiple animals into one area and they have a chance to kind of chill out with their litter mates. And a lot of times when they can chill out with their litter mates, it causes less stress in the initial weaning. Now with group cull pens, the cons of that are as they get older, we do have problems with aggression as their hormones come in and such, and they can hurt each other, they can put holes into ears, scratch each other, and really do damage on one another. And if you're doing a mixed sex group pen, which I highly recommend against, you want to make sure you're doing your butchering before 10 to 12 weeks so you don't have any accidental litters or surprises. So with those group pens, those are kind of the problems we see when we're doing that. Now, on the flip side of that, if you go straight to singleton cages, the pros to that are, one, you don't have to worry about aggression or hierarchy because the animals are already in their separate cages. It's easier to track input of food, meaning that you have better grow out rates, and you're not having the animals fight over the food, and you're not going to put the low animal on the totem pole in a situation where they're not going to get the resources that they need because they are alone in their cage. I also think it's easier going to just straight singleton cages from a standpoint of it's easier to do evaluations. You know exactly who is who, and you don't necessarily need to tattoo them right off the bat. You can do all of your identifications on the outside of the cage, compared to if you're doing a group setting, you want to tattoo as early as possible so you're not mixing your animals up. And then with a singleton setup, it's also easy to keep health records because, again, you know who is who and it's more precise. Now, the downsides to singleton pens. There's not much space. You're going to be using a lot of cage space up for singleton grow outs, which is why I kind of do a hybridization in that I start in a group pen and then anything I want to keep goes into their own pen. But yeah, that's really all I have for y'all. What do you do for your grow outs? How is yours set up? Do you do a group pen? Do you do singletons? Or do you run a colony style? And if you run a colony style, how do you pull your rabbits out when it comes to grow out? Or do you just kind of let everyone run around? I'm really interested in what colony people do with this, just because I'm down that rabbit hole. I'll never go back to colony style again because it's just too much, but I do kind of do the group setting, which I guess you can kind of call a hybrid or a colony setup. It's just, they're there until I eat them, which is a little more simple than raising animals in a colony setup, in my humble opinion. But yeah, if you've made it this far into the video, I would love for you to leave a sunshine emoji because we're going to start doing that as well because, I don't know, it just sounds like fun. But thank y'all so much for watching and getting this far, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye, guys.